Have you ever stopped to wonder if you're truly cleaning your body the right way now that you're over 70? It's a quiet, little secret many of us don't talk about. But the truth is, as our bodies change with age, some areas that once took care of themselves now need a bit more attention. I remember feeling just like you, thinking my usual routine was enough, only to discover that neglecting a few hidden spots caused discomfort I didn't expect. It's easy to laugh about it, like when you realize you've forgotten to clean behind your ears for years, even though it's right there. But honestly, these small oversights can lead to bigger issues if left unchecked. The good news is, you don't have to overhaul your life or spend hours scrubbing. With a few gentle, simple daily habits, you can feel fresh, comfortable, and confident again. I'm here to share those easy tips that work without any fuss, because caring for yourself should feel like a warm hug, not a chore. And here's a little secret. Focusing on these overlooked areas can make a surprising difference, not just in how you feel, but in your overall well-being and peace of mind. So, are you ready to discover the smart, simple ways to care for your body that every woman over 70 deserves? You truly deserve to live your best, most vibrant life, and it all starts with a little self-love and knowledge. If you are not subscribed, subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. Now, let's begin. Body Part 1. Behind the ears. It's funny how certain habits become so ingrained in us that stop noticing them altogether. Like the way we brush our teeth every morning and night, or the way we fold our favorite blanket just so before bed. But some habits, the ones our mothers drilled into us as children, can slowly slip away, hidden by decades of routine, changing bodies, and busy lives. Don't forget to wash behind your ears, my mother would say, her voice floating into the bathroom as I splashed water on my face. I'd groan, half annoyed, not understanding why it mattered. But she'd always insist, her tone gentle but firm, that it was important, especially for girls, she'd add with a wink. Of course, as I grew older, those words faded into the background of my mind. Life became busy. There were children to raise, meals to cook, jobs to juggle, friends to visit, and a million tiny daily demands. Like many women my age, I prided myself on keeping a tidy home and a tidy appearance, but I didn't give much thought to those tucked-away spots on my body. It wasn't until much later, well past my 70th birthday to be honest, that I realized how right my mother had been all along. Let's be real. Getting older is a journey full of surprises. Some are wonderful, like the peace that comes with not caring what others think anymore, or the joy of spoiling grandchildren and reconnecting with old friends. But others, well, they catch you off guard. The skin that used to be smooth and firm becomes thinner, more delicate, and sometimes oddly dry and oily at the same time. Suddenly, there are aches where you never had aches before. Your arms aren't quite as flexible as they once were, and reaching around to scrub certain spots is no longer as easy as twisting open a jar of pickles. For me, the wake-up call came most ordinarily. One morning, as I was putting on my glasses, I noticed a faint, itchy patch just behind my left ear. It wasn't painful, but it felt odd, almost like the start of a rash. At first, I brushed it off as nothing, blaming it on a new shampoo or maybe my glasses. But as the days passed, it got worse. A little sore patch appeared, dry and red, and I felt strangely self-conscious about it, even though no one else could see. It took me a while to admit it, but I realized I'd been neglecting that tiny crease behind my ear. I'd splash my face with water every morning, maybe even run a washcloth over my cheeks and chin, but I rarely paid attention to what was happening just an inch away, hidden by the arms of my glasses or the occasional earring. When I finally mentioned it to my doctor, she smiled gently and said, "You'd be amazed how common this is, especially among women your age. Our skin doesn't produce the same natural oils it used to, and with hearing aids, glasses, and earrings, bacteria and dead skin can easily build up. All it takes is a warm cloth, a gentle cleanser, and a few extra seconds each morning." Hearing that, I felt a mix of relief and, honestly, a little embarrassment. How could I, a woman who prided herself on being tidy, forget something so basic? But my doctor reassured me there was no need for shame. It's a silent, widespread issue among older women, simply because our bodies change and we adapt our routines in ways we don't always notice. Let's take a moment to talk about what happens behind our ears as we age. When we're young, our bodies do a lot of heavy lifting for us without us realizing it. Our skin produces more natural oils, which help keep the area clean and moist. We sweat a bit more, and our immune systems are more robust, quickly fighting off the little things that might cause problems. Our necks twist easily, and our hands reach every inch without protest. But as we get older, our skin becomes less efficient at shedding dead cells. The oil glands slow down, but the area behind the ears is still a warm, tucked-away spot, perfect for collecting oil, sweat, dead skin, and even a little lint from scarves or collars. Add in the fact that many of us wear glasses, hearing aids, or earrings, sometimes all at once, and you have a recipe for irritation. Glasses and hearing aids sit right in the crease, trapping moisture and dirt. Earrings can pull gently on the skin, making it a bit more sensitive. Even short hair doesn't always guarantee that the area gets much fresh air. It's easy to miss, especially if reaching behind your head isn't as simple as it used to be. Maybe you have a touch of arthritis in your shoulders, or perhaps your balance isn't quite as steady, making you hesitant to twist too far in the shower. Maybe you just forget like I did because, after a lifetime of routines, it's hard to change the way we do the little things. But here's the thing, those little things matter more than we think. When we forget to clean behind our ears, oil and dead skin cells start to build up. Bacteria and yeast, always present on our skin, can flourish in that hidden, slightly damp crease. Over time, this can lead to itchy patches, mild infections, redness, and sometimes even an unpleasant smell. It doesn't mean you're dirty or careless. It just means your body needs a little more help now. I once spoke with a friend at our weekly book club, a sharp, lively woman named Ruth who always wore bright scarves and bold glasses. She confided in me, half joking, that she'd developed a small sore behind her ear and couldn't figure out why. "I clean myself every day," she exclaimed. But when I told her about my own experience, her eyes widened. "I guess I haven't paid much attention back there since my kids were in diapers," she laughed. Out of sight, out of mind. The truth is, this isn't just a matter of comfort. It's about health, dignity, and feeling confident in your skin. If left unchecked, that little bit of neglect can turn into something more serious. Chronic irritation, fungal infections, or even sores that take a long time to heal. And for women our age, whose skin is already more delicate, it can mean unnecessary trips to the doctor or even the risk of secondary infections. But don't worry, there's no need to feel bad. We've all been there. The good news is that this problem has one of the simplest fixes you could ever imagine. You don't need fancy creams, expensive treatments, or even special equipment. All you need is a bit of awareness, a warm washcloth, a mild cleanser, and the willingness to add one tiny step to your daily routine. Let me walk you through the simple routine that has worked wonders for me, and for so many other women I know. It's as easy as brushing your teeth, and it can fit right into your morning or evening rituals. After you've washed your face, gently, please, our skin deserves kindness. Take a soft, clean washcloth and dampen it with warm water. If you like, add a tiny drop of gentle, unscented cleanser, nothing harsh, and no scrubbing. Reach behind each ear and wipe gently, paying attention to the crease where your ear meets your head. Don't forget the area just under the lobe, especially if you wear earrings. A soft touch is all you need. No need to be rough or hurried. This takes less than a minute, truly. I sometimes hum a little tune as I do it, just to remind myself that self-care can be a pleasant ritual, not a chore. Afterward, I used a soft towel to dry the area completely. Moisture left behind can be a problem, especially if you're putting on glasses or hearing aids, so don't skip this step. If you're heading out for the day, a quick check to make sure there's nothing trapped behind your ears, like stray hair or a bit of lint, can also make a world of difference. Some women like to use a cotton swab for those tricky folds, but be careful not to poke or prod too much. The skin is thin and delicate, and a gentle wipe is all it takes. If you use any lotions or creams on your face or neck, try not to get them behind your ears unless they're specifically meant for that area. Sometimes, heavy products can make the problem worse. Over the years, I've picked up a few extra tips from friends, doctors, and even my daughter, who works as a nurse. For instance, if you have mobility issues or arthritis, keep a few washcloths and towels in a basket near your sink so you don't have to bend or reach too far. You can also ask for a mirror with an extendable arm. It makes it easier to check those hidden spots without twisting your neck. And if you're ever in doubt, don't hesitate to ask for help from a loved one or caregiver. There's no shame in needing a hand now and then. We all do. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. I remember one summer, during a particularly humid stretch, my granddaughter came to stay with me. She's a teenager, full of energy and curiosity, and loves to try out all the latest beauty routines she sees online. One afternoon, as we were doing our spa day together, she asked if I'd ever tried a behind-the-ear facial. We both burst out laughing at the idea, but it made me realize how easy it is to overlook certain parts of ourselves, even as we spend hours caring for others. That evening, as I cleaned behind my ears, I thought of her and smiled, grateful for these little reminders to pay attention to the details. Sometimes, it's the smallest changes that make the biggest difference. After just a week of adding this extra step to my routine, the itchy patch behind my ear disappeared. My skin felt smoother, and perhaps most importantly, I felt a renewed sense of control and self-respect. It's a quiet, private kind of confidence, knowing that you're taking care of yourself in ways that no one else might notice, but that matters deeply to your comfort and well-being. Over time, this simple act has become more than just a habit. It's a daily moment of mindfulness. Each morning, as I wipe behind my ears, I take a breath and remember all the women who came before me. My mother, my grandmothers, my friends, who taught me that self-care is not selfish, but essential. I think of all the older women out there, just like me, who deserve to feel fresh, comfortable, and proud of the bodies that have carried us through so much. If you're reading this and wondering whether you really need to change your routine, let me gently nudge you. Give it a try. Add this tiny step to your morning or evening. It's so simple, so easy, and it can spare you the discomfort, embarrassment, and health issues that come from neglecting that little crease behind your ear. You might not notice the difference right away, but over weeks and months, your skin will thank you, and you'll feel just a bit more polished, a bit more cared for. It's also an act of kindness you can pass on. If you have daughters, granddaughters, nieces, or friends, share this tip with them. Sometimes, the best wisdom we can give the next generation is about the little things, the ones that make daily life more comfortable, healthy, and joyful. I once told my friend Edith, a sprightly 83-year-old with the sharpest wit I know, about my new routine. The next time I saw her, she leaned in, grinned, and whispered, "You were right. My ears have never felt so good." We both laughed, but there was pride in her voice, and I knew she'd pass the tip along to her daughter and granddaughter too. There's something special about caring for ourselves, especially as we age. We've spent decades looking after others. Children, spouses, friends, even neighbors. Now, it's our turn. And sometimes, that care starts with the smallest, most overlooked places. So tomorrow morning, after you brush your teeth and wash your face, pause for just a few extra seconds. Feel the soft warmth of the washcloth, the gentle comfort of clean skin, and know that you are tending to a lifetime of memories, wisdom, and strength. It's not just about hygiene. It's about honoring the body that has carried you through every joy and sorrow, every triumph and challenge. As we grow older, we earn the right to be a little kinder to ourselves, to pay attention to what our bodies need, to embrace the rituals that make us feel whole, and to celebrate the small victories. Washing behind your ears may seem like a tiny thing, but in truth, it's a daily gift you give yourself, a moment of gentle attention, a promise to keep caring, and a quiet declaration that you are worth every second. In the end, it's not about being perfect or spotless. It's about being mindful, compassionate, and proactive. You deserve to feel comfortable, clean, and confident every single day. And it all starts with a warm washcloth, a gentle touch, and the simple wisdom our mothers tried to teach us all those years ago. So here's to you, to the women who know that real beauty and dignity come from the inside out, and to the power of caring for yourself, one small, hidden spot at a time. Body Part 2. Under the breasts. As we age, some things become easier, like knowing exactly who we are and what we want from life. But other things, I've found, become a little trickier. Sometimes it's the simple things, the everyday moments, that catch us off guard. The skin under our breasts is one of those little details that most of us rarely thought about when we were younger, but that quietly demands our attention as we grow older. Let's be honest, under the breasts isn't a topic many women are eager to chat about at lunch with friends. Maybe it seems a bit personal, a bit too close to home. Yet, for every woman who's lived a long, rich life, nursing babies, chasing dreams, or simply enjoying the comfort of a soft sweater, this area is as real as it gets. And if you're anything like me, you might have discovered its importance the hard way. I remember the first time I noticed a change under my breasts. It was a sweltering day in July, one of those heat waves that make the air itself feel heavy. I was in my 70s, old enough to know how to dress for the weather, but still not wise to every trick of aging skin. After a morning of gardening, I came inside and peeled off my damp t-shirt, feeling that familiar, sticky discomfort under my bra band. At first, I brushed it off, a bit of heat, a bit of sweat, nothing to worry about. But the next morning, there it was, a faint redness under my breasts, with a prickly, almost burning sensation. I looked in the mirror and saw a patch of irritated skin I'd never noticed before. Maybe you've been there yourself, feeling surprised, then a bit embarrassed, wondering if you'd forgotten something essential in your self-care routine. I tried switching bras, applying creams, even skipping my walk on the hottest days, but nothing seemed to help. It wasn't until a routine checkup that I finally asked my doctor. She smiled, and with a gentle, knowing tone said, "You'd be surprised how common this is, especially in women over 70. The skin under your breasts is delicate, and as we age, it's more likely to become irritated, especially in warm, moist conditions." She went on to explain that this part of the body is a perfect storm for issues, especially after 65 or 70. Why? Well, as we get older, our skin thins, loses elasticity, and becomes more fragile. The glands that once kept our skin supple slow down, and the area under the breasts often gets less air circulation. For women who wear bras, especially those with a bit more curve, sweat and moisture can become trapped easily. What happens then? All sorts of little troubles. Redness, itching, rash. Sometimes even a faint odor that makes you feel self-conscious. At its worst, the dampness can lead to something called intertrigo, a fancy name for a rash in skin folds, or even a yeast infection, which, believe it or not, is quite common in this warm, protected area. My doctor told me it's not just women with a large bust. Petite women can experience the same issues. All it takes is a bit of moisture and a hidden fold of skin. Hearing this was oddly comforting. I wasn't alone, and I wasn't doing something wrong. My body was just asking for a little extra care in a place I'd always overlooked. It's funny how these small lessons of aging sneak up on us, isn't it? We spend years worrying about big things, only to realize the tiny details matter just as much. After that, I made it my mission to understand this part of my body better. I read articles, asked friends, you'd be amazed what women will share in a quiet moment, and tried out different routines. Through trial and error, I found what worked, and what didn't. But I also learned something even more important. Taking care of the skin under your breasts isn't just about hygiene. It's about comfort, confidence, and treating yourself with the same tenderness you'd offer a dear friend. Let's talk a little bit about why this spot is so sensitive, especially after 70. When we were younger, the skin in this area was thicker, oilier, and had better circulation. Now, the skin becomes thinner and more prone to tiny tears or irritation from friction, like when your bra rubs as you move. Sweat builds up and, if not cleaned and dried thoroughly, can break down the skin's natural barrier. That's when yeast and bacteria, both normal on our skin, can multiply and cause trouble. And it's not just about size. Some women with smaller chests have deeper folds, and some bras create more friction or trap more heat. Even our posture changes as we age, making skin-to-skin contact more frequent. Medications can also play a role. Certain medicines make skin more fragile or cause us to sweat more. Hot flashes, common even after menopause, add to the mix. The good news is that a few small daily habits can change everything. I've found that cleaning under the breasts every single day, not just in the shower, but with real intention, can make a world of difference. It doesn't take long, but it does require gentleness and a little mindfulness. Here's what I do now, and what I encourage every woman in her 60s, 70s, and beyond to try. Each morning, after my shower, I use a soft, clean washcloth with a touch of mild, unscented soap. I lift each breast gently and clean the skin underneath with slow, easy strokes, never scrubbing or pulling. The goal isn't to make the skin raw, but to remove sweat, oil, and any lingering traces of yesterday's activity. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. If you have trouble reaching, don't be afraid to ask for a little help from a partner or caregiver, or use a mirror to guide you. Sometimes, a simple handheld mirror can help you see spots you might miss otherwise. After cleaning, I always pat the area completely dry with a soft towel. That's key. Moisture is the enemy. I try to avoid powders with talc, which aren't safe for long-term use. But a little cornstarch or a clean, cotton pad can help keep things fresh, especially in the summer. If I'm going out for the day or expect to be active, I'll sometimes tuck a small, folded piece of cotton under my bra band. It absorbs moisture and prevents chafing, making life a lot more comfortable. My friend Grace, who's always been the practical one in our group, swears by changing bras midday on really hot days. She keeps a spare in her purse, and I've adopted her trick more times than I can count. It's amazing what a difference a fresh, dry bra can make when the weather's humid or you're moving around a lot. Some women worry that all this attention to cleaning is fussy, but I see it differently. It's an act of self-respect, a small ritual that says, I matter and my comfort matters, too. In a world that too often tells older women to shrink themselves or ignore their needs, taking a few minutes each day to care for your skin is a quiet, powerful rebellion. If you ever notice persistent redness, soreness, or a rash that won't go away, it's important to talk to your doctor. Sometimes, what looks like a simple irritation can be a sign of a mild infection or even a reaction to a product you're using. Your doctor can recommend gentle antifungal creams or suggest different routines. And if you're worried about odor, remember that sweat itself isn't smelly. It's the bacteria that grow in moist places that create a scent. Regular, gentle cleaning goes a long way to preventing this. Over the years, I've learned a few more tricks from other women. My neighbor Eileen shared that she skips wearing a bra at home whenever she can, letting her skin breathe during the day. Another friend, Joan, likes to use a tiny fan or keep her bedroom cool at night, which helps her wake up less sticky in the morning. It's these little adjustments, passed quietly between women, that become our best wisdom. But sometimes, the most important lesson is to be kind to yourself. Our bodies change, and that's nothing to be ashamed of. The lines, the softness, even the folds of skin, they're all part of the rich tapestry of a life well lived. The point isn't to chase perfection, but to embrace comfort and confidence wherever you can find it. If you're caring for someone else, perhaps a partner, a sister, or even your own mother, these tips can be just as important. Older women who are less mobile or spend more time in bed need special attention to skin folds, including under the breasts, to prevent pressure sores or infections. It's a gift of love to help another woman feel comfortable and cared for, and it honors the circle of support that women have offered each other for generations. I still remember the day I finally talked openly about this with my daughters. At first, they giggled and made faces, but as I explained what I'd learned, I saw their expressions soften. "You never think about these things until you get older, Mom," my youngest said. I nodded, realizing that sharing these small truths was just as important as passing on family recipes or teaching them how to balance a checkbook. Taking care of the skin under your breasts is about more than avoiding discomfort. It's about claiming your right to feel good in your own body, no matter your age or shape. It's about saying, "I am still here, and I am worthy of care." It's about remembering that you can always learn something new, even after 70. And perhaps most of all, it's about celebrating the wisdom that comes from living through the seasons of a woman's life. If you're reading this and thinking, "Oh, I don't need to worry about that, I've never had problems before," let me gently encourage you to give it some thought. Sometimes, issues creep up slowly. What feels like a little itch or a bit of redness today can become something more tomorrow. Prevention is always easier, and kinder, than treatment. Making cleaning under your breasts a part of your daily routine can save you the trouble and discomfort of dealing with rashes or infections later on. You don't have to spend a fortune or change your whole life. All it takes is a soft cloth, a little soap, and a moment of attention each day. Treat it as a small act of gratitude for your body and all it's carried you through. You might even find, as I did, that it becomes a peaceful, grounding ritual. A time to check in with yourself, to breathe, and to remember that you are worthy of gentle care. And if you ever feel alone or unsure, remember that you are part of a community of strong, wise women, each facing her own version of these challenges. Reach out, ask questions, share your experiences. Sometimes, the most comforting words come from another woman who says, "Oh yes, me too." There's no shame in needing advice, and every story shared is a gift. So as you go about your day, remember this. Caring for the skin under your breasts is not just about hygiene. It's about dignity, comfort, and honoring yourself. It's about finding joy in the small routines, about laughing off the awkward moments, and about accepting every part of yourself, hidden or seen, youthful or wise. The next time you step out of the shower, take an extra moment for yourself. Feel the softness of your skin, the gentleness of your touch, and let yourself be grateful for the body that has weathered every season with you. A life well lived leaves its marks, but with a little care, you can walk through every day feeling fresh, comfortable, and proud. After all, you deserve it. Not just because you're older, but because you are you. And you, my dear, are worth every gentle, caring moment you give yourself. Body Part 3. The Belly Button. If you're anything like me, the last time you gave any real thought to your belly button might have been the day your youngest grandchild asked, "Grandma, why do we have these?" And you had to dig deep for an answer that was both scientific and magical enough to satisfy a 5-year-old's curiosity. We chuckle about it now, but the truth is that our belly buttons, those tiny, sometimes forgotten doorways to the past, don't exactly come up in polite conversation after a certain age. Yet, for all the history and symbolism wrapped up in that little spot, we rarely stop to consider what's actually going on in there as we get older. When we were young, maybe our mothers washed us with careful hands, making sure to get into all the nooks and crannies, including that mysterious belly button. Over the years, though, life gets busy, our bodies change, and our attention shifts elsewhere. Maybe you're like me, you always made sure your face was washed, your hands were clean, and your feet were presentable, but your belly button was, well, just there. Out of sight, out of mind. It wasn't until I was well into my 70s, standing in the steamy hush of my bathroom one morning, that I caught a faint whiff of something unpleasant as I toweled off. I checked my laundry, thinking maybe I'd left a damp towel somewhere. The smell persisted. For days, I blamed it on everything from my husband's socks to the neighborhood dog who occasionally got into our trash. But after my next shower, as I dried off again, I realized the scent was coming from me. Specifically, from my own belly button. I stared at it in the mirror, a little embarrassed to admit to myself that I couldn't remember the last time I'd given it a proper clean. Was it really possible that, after a lifetime of washing and scrubbing and tending to all the important bits, I'd missed such a central part of my own body? As I stood there, I remembered something my doctor once said during a routine checkup. You'd be surprised how many older adults develop small infections in the belly button. It's warm, it's dark, and it's easy to forget. At the time, I'd brushed it off. Now, it made perfect sense. What is it about the belly button that makes it such a sneaky troublemaker as we age? For starters, it's a natural collection point for all kinds of things. Dead skin, sweat, body oils, bits of lint, and even residue from soaps or lotions. If you have an innie, as many of us do, the navel can act like a tiny cave, trapping moisture and debris. And as we get older, our skin loses elasticity and our metabolism slows, which can make cleaning certain spots, especially the ones we can't see or easily reach, more challenging. The truth is, for many of us, bending over to get a good look at our own belly button just isn't as easy as it used to be. Aching backs, stiff knees, or shaky balance can turn the simple act of inspecting your midsection into a full-fledged yoga pose. And so, in the rush of daily routines, it's easy to miss, or simply avoid, giving that little spot the attention it deserves. But what happens when we ignore it? Well, let me share a story, one that's more common than you might think. My friend Linda, a lively woman with a contagious laugh and a sharp wit, confided in me that she developed an itch in her belly button. At first, she'd ignored it, thinking maybe it was just a stray thread from her shirt or a reaction to her waistband. But over time, it got worse. The area became red, sore, and even a little damp. She tried ignoring it, then tried rubbing some lotion on it, but nothing seemed to help. Finally, at her next doctor's appointment, she asked about it. Her doctor examined the area and diagnosed her with a mild case of omphalitis, an infection of the belly button. It sounded exotic, but the cause was simple. Debris and moisture had built up inside, providing a cozy home for bacteria and yeast. All it took was a short course of gentle cleansing and an over-the-counter cream, and Linda was back to her old self in no time. Still, she felt a little embarrassed, wondering why she hadn't noticed the problem sooner. But why should she have? So few of us ever learned about belly button care. It's just not something people talk about. Not at church, not at the senior center, not even over lunch with lifelong friends. And yet, as we age, it becomes more important than ever. Our immune systems aren't quite as quick to respond, and skin infections that might have healed overnight in our 30s can take days or weeks to clear up now. For those of us with diabetes or other chronic conditions, even a small, localized infection can spiral into something more serious if we're not careful. Luckily, keeping your belly button clean doesn't require a degree in medicine or a complicated routine. In fact, it might just be the simplest addition to your daily care, and one that brings a surprising sense of satisfaction. Here's what I've learned, both from doctors and from wise women in my own circle. First, make it a habit to inspect your belly button at least once a day, ideally right after your morning shower or evening bath. The steam and warm water will have loosened any debris, making it easy to clean. Take a clean cotton swab, dip it in warm water or a bit of gentle micellar cleanser, nothing harsh or overly scented, and gently sweep inside the navel. If you have an outie, just give it a gentle wipe with a soft washcloth. The key is to be gentle. There's no need to scrub or poke. Our skin is thinner now and can be easily irritated. After cleaning, be sure to dry the area thoroughly. Moisture is the enemy here. If you have deeper creases or find it difficult to dry the area with a towel, you can use a clean cotton swab or even a soft tissue. For those with mobility issues, a long-handled mirror can help you see what's going on, or you can ask a loved one for a little help. No shame in that. It may sound funny, but I've even started adding a belly button check to my self-care routine, right alongside brushing my teeth and moisturizing my hands. I've found that it's a gentle, almost meditative way to check in with myself each day, to notice how I'm feeling, to pay attention to the details, to care for the little things. I remember telling my granddaughter about my new routine. She wrinkled her nose and giggled, "Grandma, you're so funny." But a week later, she told me she'd started cleaning her own belly button, too, just in case. We laughed together, but in that moment, I realized how important it is to pass these little lessons on. It's not about perfection. It's about respect for our bodies and for the lives we've lived in them. There are a few more things to keep in mind, especially for women our age. If you notice any persistent redness, itching, discharge, or a foul smell, even after regular cleaning, it's wise to check in with your doctor. Sometimes, yeast or bacterial infections can take hold, and a prescription cream may be needed to clear things up. If you're prone to sweating, especially during summer months, you might consider wearing loose, breathable clothing and changing your shirt if it becomes damp. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. A little cornstarch or non-talc powder, dusted lightly around, not in, the navel, can help keep the area dry on particularly hot days. Just remember, less is more, and always err on the side of gentle care. Heavy, scented powders and creams can irritate sensitive skin and trap more moisture. If you have a medical condition like diabetes or use a wheelchair, it's doubly important to keep an eye on your skin and catch any signs of infection early. Our bodies are remarkable, but they do need a little extra attention as the years pass. That's not a failure. It's just the wisdom of experience. I've even heard stories of older women who tuck a little reminder note inside their medicine cabinet. Don't forget your belly button. It sounds silly, but sometimes it's these small prompts that help us care for ourselves in ways we never thought necessary before. If you use lotion or body oils, try not to let them pool in the navel. Wipe away any excess with a soft tissue. And if, by chance, you find yourself helping care for someone else, an elderly parent, a partner, or a friend who is bedridden, remember that the belly button is just as important for them as it is for you. A gentle daily cleaning can prevent a host of issues and bring comfort and dignity. Some days, as I go through my morning routine, I find myself smiling at how much more careful I am with my body now than I was in my youth. The details matter more now, perhaps because I know what it feels like to be uncomfortable, to be thrown off by a small problem that grows quietly out of neglect. There's a certain peace in knowing you're taking care of every part of yourself, even the parts that seem small or silly. For me, cleaning my belly button has become an act of gratitude, a daily acknowledgement of the life I've lived, the children I've carried, the laughter and tears my body has witnessed. It's a little way to say thank you to the skin that's weathered storms and sunshine alike. Maybe you've never had a single issue with your navel, and you're reading this with a smile, thinking, well, I'm doing just fine. And that's wonderful. But as with so many things in life, prevention is the gentlest path. It's easier to spend a minute each day on this quiet act of care than to endure the discomfort or worry of an unexpected infection. Sometimes, as I finish my routine and smooth my blouse over my belly, I pause for a moment, a tiny moment of pride and contentment. These small rituals, these details we honor, are a way of claiming our right to comfort, health, and dignity. They are proof that we value ourselves, no matter what age we find ourselves in. So the next time you step out of the shower or get ready for bed, remember your belly button. Give it a gentle clean, a tender dry, and maybe even a whispered word of thanks. And if you're bold enough, share the tip with a friend, a daughter, or a granddaughter, because this wisdom, quiet and practical, is worth passing on. We spend so much of our lives caring for others, tending to homes and hearts and hopes. Now, in this season of life, let's promise to care for ourselves, too. Even, or perhaps especially, in the smallest of ways. After all, every woman over 65 deserves to walk through each day feeling clean, comfortable, and completely at home in her own skin. From her head, to her toes, to the very center of her being. And sometimes, it's that tiny hidden place, the one we forget about, that reminds us how deeply we're worth the extra care. Thank you so much for staying with me through these little but important steps in caring for yourself. I hope you found comfort and maybe even a bit of surprise in learning about these hidden places. Behind your ears, under your breasts, and yes, your belly button, that deserve a little more attention than we often give them. It's easy to overlook these spots, especially as life gets busier or our bodies remind us that some things just aren't as simple as they once were. But the truth is, these small acts of care can make a big difference. Not only in how you feel physically, but in how you carry yourself with confidence and pride each day. You deserve to feel fresh, comfortable, and dignified every single day, no matter your age or how your body has changed. Taking the time to nurture yourself gently is an act of kindness and respect that honors the years you've lived and the journey ahead. Remember, it's not about perfection or doing everything all at once. It's about finding the moments to care for yourself in ways that feel right and manageable, one small step at a time. If you learned something new today, or if one of these tips spoke to you, I'd love to hear from you. Please share in the comments which habit you're going to try first, or tell me if you have your own little self-care secrets to pass along. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Together, we're building a community of women who care deeply for themselves and each other. You're worthy of all the care and kindness you give so freely to others. Keep shining, keep caring, and remember, you are truly amazing.